First of all, I want to apologize about the quality in this video because it is raining outside and, it's storming actually. It's got like a really, really depressingly gray sky, and I don't know if y'all can hear the rain, but it's pretty bad. Secondly, um, I apologize for how I look, but I'm black and I'm on the internet, so you probably, you hate me because of how I look, you hate me because of how I sound. You're gonna hate me for anything. Also, my wardrobe choice is probably not the best choice, but that's only because I wanted to sort of like mix it up fashion wise, and I have like actually a whole bunch of clothes that surprisingly didn't get stolen during the break in. As long as I got them, I'm gonna try to use them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to like sort of do stuff with the wardrobe that I got. One thing I kind of don't like, I like open front shirts, but I don't specifically like this one because I don't like the fact that one side is like black and the other side has like this gray going on with it. It just, it feels like somebody, like, it looks like somebody just like left the tape measure on and just didn't bother to take the other half off. I don't know, but I do like open front shirts. I prefer open front shirts with shorter sleeves, so that way I can, increase mobility. Um, but yeah, like I do have, like, I got a lot of shirts. My roommate gave me a lot of his clothes as well. My ex roommate anyway, and to this, and I do intend on like using some of the gear that he gave me. Just sort of like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to do something with it. That's the goal. But that's not what this video is about. This video. So I saw Quiet on the Set on HBO Max the other day, and I wanted to talk about it. I want, like, because it's like, first off, the discussion of what Hollywood does to child stars should definitely be like expanded upon. That should definitely be like a thing that should be like a common subject. Like we love talking about like right wingers love like, promoting children as like abuse victims to sort of like get more attention, to like getting more votes. But it's a deeper conversation than just, oh, these people should just, vote for us and we go protect the kids from being sexually assaulted. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's not, because it's a deeper thing than that. It's like there's a culture dedicated to this, and that we really just don't. I feel like we don't talk about because either A, is too obvious, or B, is just too gross to have. It's just too gross of a conversation to have. We don't. There's a lot of conversations in this country, in just in our culture, that we just tend to avoid because we don't want to talk about them, because it makes us too uneasy, and there's no right way to discuss these things. There's race, there's children, there's the educational system, there's money. You know what I'm saying? It's like things that people just kind of want to assume. People just want to slap on the old "it is what it is" thing and just say, well, that's just what it is. We don't have to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But no, I feel like we should talk about it. Like, not just, as a people, as a culture, as a thing, but Quiet on the Set is definitely like a really good way to sort of like initially go into this thing, because there should be more episodes dedicated to more things about this, because all of that and Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon in general, those weren't the only things. You know what I'm saying? Those not the only things. There's other instances out there that are just as grim and disturbing as that, if not worse. Yeah, how does it get worse? Well, let's find a way. Look at how fat my hands are. This is ridiculous. But yeah, like, I think that the thing that really kind of stuck out to me the most when it came to the Quiet on the Set series anyway, was the fact that Schneider, like, it was, I initially wanted to just sort of like be just a hit piece on Schneider, but instead it was more along the lines of, like, there was some ridiculousness going on in with Nickelodeon in general. And it really kind of affected me some kind of way, because I was old enough to see, like, I didn't watch, like, Zoe 101 or the later seasons of all that. I think I stopped at the one where old boy was doing the Abram. I remember that. I remember that, like, that season with that was probably like the last season I ever saw with that stuff. And of all that. But it wasn't because I didn't like the show anymore. It was because of the fact that it was because I didn't have cable, so I couldn't really watch the show anymore. And plus I was getting older than the show. It felt like the humor that was on the show were starting to get like more and more childlike, and I was growing up. But the fact of the matter is that but I do remember watching some of these episodes of the of all that, and when they talked about this stuff, like I said, I didn't say anything about, I didn't know anything about the Joey 101 or Victorious or anything or Sam and Cat or anything like that. Those weren't shows that I was watching. By the time those shows came out, I think I was like in my 20s. So I was like, this is just weird. This is not something for me. But I remember the on air dares that I just thought was like kind of bizarre and just not something that I not like. I remember the sugar and coffee sketch where they did put the sugar in their mouth and then did the coffee, and it was just acting all jittery the whole time and stuff like that. I remember those things, and I remember hearing them talk about it from their perspective. It's like I didn't think that it was even funny then, because I'm not really a big fan of like gross out humor and copious. I think the shows, the segments I like from all that were the ones that were like Vital Information with Lori Beth Denberg, or Super Dude, or Welcome to Good Burger, where you had like that, because those were things you actually had to listen, and you actually had to listen and watch to pay attention to what the joke was. It wasn't like it wasn't that the joke was there was just a copious amount of stuff and it was loud and it was fast moving. It was just like I liked jokes that I had to think about in order to get. And because of that, I wanted to bring up that anybody who knows me personally knows that I'm a big fan of trying to sort of understand things and try to get things. I want to be able to ask myself, why is this joke funny, and then say why, and then be able to answer that question. And I always kind of tend to sort of depict. I tend to feel like I know enough about a person by what they think is funny. Anybody who knows me personally knows that I'm really bad about that. Because it's really easy to kind of just sort of look past a person's negative qualities, just to kind of sort of let them, just sort of let them kind of go forward with what they're doing and stuff like that. And with me, and I'm guilty of that too. I have friends that are Republicans, that are conservatives, that are right-wing people, but it's because of the fact that they're from where I grew up, or because of certain sentimental values, I still keep these people close. But I also am smart enough to not get brainwashed into whatever it is that they believe. You know what I mean? But I do I'm not just gonna I'm not gonna just agree with a bigot, but I will keep a bigot around because they're probably a member of not my immediate family, but maybe a family that I have established away from my family, or they might just be a member of my family. You know what I'm saying? There is still I will not deny a connection with a terrible person that I used to know. But I will say that they have views and stuff that I do not agree with, and I'm consistently letting them know this is not a good thing that you're supporting and stuff like that. But I will always have a perspective of someone based on what they find funny. Because one of the recurring themes that I noticed in the documentary was that there was Schneider would do stuff as a joke. He would do messed up, screwed up things as a joke. You know what I mean? And we all know somebody who does and says terrible, screwed up stuff as a joke. I even do it sometimes. I'm guilty of it. I've attempted on my life at least a good 4 times before I was an adult. You know what I mean? So before I was 18 years old, I think and it's I can casually talk about that and even joke about it a little bit. And people who have probably never attempted on their life before will probably look at me and be like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? That's not something that we just casually talk about. You know what I mean? That's not something that we could just make jokes about. And I'm just like, oh, my bad. And I know to dial and for a long time I knew to dial it back with that. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people who may not have, there's some people out there that these people might have known who succeeded in taking away their own life. So for me to just be like, well, I did it too and I survived, I mean, that's messed up. That's a messed up thing to do. So I didn't do those that much anymore. But we all know somebody who does it, who will say, oh, but dude, it's just a joke. Calm down, bro. It's just a joke. Calm down. It's just a joke. Calm down. And it's like, yeah, but you're being bigoted. You're being misogynistic. You're being short-sighted. You're being entitled. You're being cruel. Cruelty is definitely like, and cruelty is definitely up there as one of the biggest reasons why they do the jokes that they do. Because, especially in my community, there's this message of anybody can get, anybody can, you should be able to laugh at everything because everything is funny. And I'm just like, no, not everything is funny. Not everything is funny. Now, as a matter, like you can't tell me to laugh at a joke about something as serious as, I don't know, a sexual assault, or or a home invasion. Like I've gotten my apartment broken into, okay? I've gotten my apartment broken into. You can't tell me that you got your apartment broken into and I just go, did they take your noodles too? Like, no, that's stupid. That's messed up. So it's just like I can't, like, there's stuff that I just can't laugh at. You know what I mean? Like that's I feel like I feel like as a society we have managed to like sort of avoid so many serious issues and so many taboo issues that we basically just we made them normal, and challenging them is seen as like something that isn't normal. Challenging them just seems like, why would you challenge something as obvious and as normal as this bad stuff that's happening? Like body shaming is okay now, hurting people is okay now, being mean is okay now. That's just the culture that we live in. We it's necessary for our existence. And if you ask why, they'd be like, why would you ask that question? That's a ridiculous question. And it's like, yeah, but is it ridiculous because you can't answer it? Or is it ridiculous because the answer is so simple? Like, what's the answer? Well, the answer is really simple. Well, what is the simple answer then? You know what I'm saying? My problem is that, like, we've basically I feel like as a culture, as a society, we've managed to sort of, like, trick ourselves into thinking that cruelty is necessary, without actually explaining or even showing exactly why cruelty is necessary. Do we need bullies? Do we need people picking on other people? Do we need people harming other people for their own personal amusement? Do we need that? And if so, why? Because what Dan Schneider did to those people, like you could argue that he did sort of create like a community of ridiculously successful young people. But for the few people who got successful, Amanda Bynes, there's a couple of people who got like scarred for life. There's people who are done with acting because of because of the environment that Dan Schneider created. And the thing is that like he's just one of many people who do this stuff. He's one of not only many people who do this stuff that have some kind of power in Hollywood. He's just one of many people in general who is like this in general. We all know a bully who makes the environment messed up just to make themselves feel better, as a joke. We all know somebody who is bigoted or misogynistic or racist or have some kind of thing about them that you just willingly ignore because, well, that's not their whole personality. It's just a part. Everybody has their own flaws, but you can't ignore that though. Especially if they try to pass it off as a joke. Because if they try to pass it off as a joke, they're trying to manipulate you to enjoy what they're doing. Like in your brain, if your brain is saying, yo, something about this is messed up, you are allowed to act on that feeling. You can't just, like, there's just some things, like maybe it's just me. I can't just laugh stuff off, man. Like I said, I pay attention to what people laugh at, and some of the stuff is just a little messed up. Like, if you're the type of person who thinks that somebody getting punched in the face is funny, with absolutely no context involved, just somebody gets punched in the face and you just think that that's hilarious, I can't trust you. Because I know that if I'm defending myself against somebody and they punch me in the face, you're not going to help me. You're going to laugh at me. You know what I mean? If you're the type of person if you're the type of person who's a bigot in some fashion, you know what I mean? If you don't like the LGBTQ community, or if you don't like people of color, or if you don't like people with disabilities, or you don't like the elderly, if you don't like people for who they are rather than what they do, then I know for a fact that at some point you're going to make fun of me for something that you find unenjoyable about me. I know that you will, because you find it funny to do it to other people. Because I'm one of the good ones until I'm not. If you're the type of person who's gonna like make jokes about like bro, there's, like I said, marginalizing people is not a good thing. Marginalizing people and talking smack about people and insulting people and mistreating people, there's no need for that. And this documentary kind of proves that there are people out there who's willing to manipulate the situation just so they can say, dude, it was just a joke, calm down. It's never just a joke to me. It's never just a joke. Like, you can laugh, but if I'm not laughing, that's because it's not a joke to me. It's a joke to you. Like I say this as somebody who, like, you know, and my whole thing is that, like, you know, I'm willing, and the thing is, I actually do like laughing. I actually do enjoy laughing at things. I do enjoy, like, having a good time and, you know, genuinely but it's like, I like jokes that are like, that makes me think. I like word jokes. Like, one of my favorite alt that skits is the Good Burger skits, because you have to actually pay attention to, like, what is being said to understand the context, to know the joke. I also liked Vital Information by Lori Beth Denberg. I love that segment. I wish there was, like, you know, if Lori, I don't know if she's retired from acting or not, but I would have loved for her to just continue on doing that, because just imagine, like, because Vital Information could literally just be non sequiturs, random tongue twisters, weird things that you just said. Like, I don't know if y'all, there's the Whose Lines It Anyway with the crazy newscasters, where Colin Mockery always opened up the crazy newscaster skits with something that you would probably hear from Vital Information. You know, so it's like, I kind of wish that, you know, I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. I like jokes that make me think. I like to be able to ask, why is this joke funny to me? And then answer that question in my head, and then laugh at why that joke is funny to me. But the answer can't be, oh, it was because this person screamed, or this person had a copious amount of slime put on their face, or this person had, like, a whole lot of, like, fast movements and then a big noise. It can't be something that surface level. It's got to be a deeper thought than that. It's like, you know, that's the reason why I like wordplay jokes. I like puns. Well, if you had to explain the joke, then the joke don't be funny no more. Then how do you explain stand-up comedians? Their literal job is to explain jokes for like half an hour. It's not like just joke for 30 minutes. They stop, they tell a story, they stop, they tell another story, then they do it to the punchline, boom. You're laughing at somebody who just explained to you why you needed to laugh in the first place. So miss me with that, don't explain the joke mess. You know, like, but, like, at the end of the day, like I say, if you're laughing at bigotry, if you're laughing at mockery, if you're laughing at schadenfreude, if you're laughing at stuff like sexual assault, I don't trust dark humor cats anymore. It's not, because dark humor is just bigotry. It's just, like, misogyny. It's just hatred. It's just, you just want people to be okay with you hating somebody else so they can hate other people too and validate your hatred. I'm not cool with that. I really did get all that from watching the Quiet on the Set documentary. You get it? Y'all be easy.